Hello everyone. So now that we have finished the basics and some of the fundamentals of Zbrush, let's get started and move on with creating a basic sculpture. We call it the CubeBoy. So something like this, a boy made from cube. And then just a very small exercise to practice our brushes and a little bit of the how you use it. Okay, so I'll go to Lightbox in Zbrush. Go ahead and open the cube.zpr, the project file, and I'll say open it. Okay, first thing I'll do is I'll go to Tool. I'll go under Tool, Geometry, and I would press Delete Lower. I want to get rid of the subdivision. Excuse me. I want to get rid of the subdivision that is on my model right now. So you can tell that this cube is now a subdivision model because it's able to go up and down the subdivisions. But I actually want this to be more of an exercise that we can freely change our model. So I want to press Delete Lower, and we change this into Dynamesh. Okay, so go ahead and press Delete Lower when I'm at subdivision level 5. I'm pressing Shift F so that I can see my wireframe just now. So just Shift F to off it again. Press Delete Lower. Then I'll go up to resolution over here on our interface, and I'll set it to 400 resolution, and I'll on Dynamesh. So now it has become a Dynamesh model. My points is 900,000, it's close to 1 million, and I can start to 3D sculpt on my model. Okay, make sure I'm facing the front, and I'll press number 1 on my keyboard. Number 1. Press S to change the size. Then I'll do the eyebrows first. Eyebrows. So I'm just using my left click or the Wacom left click. You tap on it, you just create some eyebrows here. When you alternate and left click using the number 1 brush, you are able to cave in into the eye. Cave into the eye. Okay. If you press Shift, the cursor becomes blue in color. You'll be able to smooth the brush. Smooth the brush. Okay. So if you have been watching until here right now, probably you should pause, give it a pause, and then go and do this until you flow through to this step. Alright. I'll continue though. So I would carry on. Number 1 brush. I would create a nose. Just create a stroke straight down and then a little bit over here. I'm still using the number 1 brush. Adds volume, and it makes it. I can keep on creating the volume here. Okay. So now I'll teach you number 2 brush. Number 2 brush. When I press number 2 on my keyboard, I'll change this to hPolish. Just now when I'm at number 1, I'm using Clay Buildup. Number 2, hPolish, I can polish. Let's see how I polish this eyebrow here. Polish this nose. Mix it better. Let it do some plastic surgery. Can be pretty cool. Okay, so that's your number 2 brush, hPolish. Number 3 brush. Number 3 brush is the Inflate brush. Number 3 brush is the Inflate brush. Open up the draw size by pressing S and then bring it up, or you can change the draw size on top over here. Change the draw size. Right at this corner here, where I'm putting it into the cheek area, I'm going to inflate this area and then make it a bit rounder. The draw size, a big draw size is important so that I will create a bigger surface area on it. being inflated. Okay. So actually, after every time I switch on to a new brush, you should probably go back and practice. Give it a pause, and then you come back here so that you can understand how to do in this lesson. Okay. Number 4 brush. Number 4 is the SnakeHook brush. So I'll go to the back of this cube over here, and then I'm going to create a tail. Okay. But if I were to just create a tail right away, I'll pull it out. I'll end up with a double tail. Okay, so that's probably not what I want. Okay. So if you don't know how to rotate to the back, right click, and you just need to right click, it will rotate around the model. Go to the back of the cube. So I'm going to do it without symmetry. So how to off your symmetry? You press X on the keyboard, X for X-ray. And then now you will tell that I don't have another extra dot on my model. And then now I'm creating just one tail. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so just a weird creature with a tail behind it. Alright, now I'm gonna show you some problems with this number 4 brush. Number 4 is the SnakeHook brush, which I show you. I created a tail with this SnakeHook brush, number 4. But if I press Shift F, you notice that I'm creating some artifacts here. This is not good. Okay, Zbrush is telling you you're stretching too much. You're gonna have problems here. If I were to sculpt here with my number 1 brush, it will not work. You have to hold Shift to smooth it. It kind of works, but not quite. Okay, so actually, what should I do? What should I do? Not only that, also on the previous our brush stroke here where we inflated our model, there's some stretching here as well. You can tell that the polygons is stretching when it's much bigger than the other parts of the model. Other parts of the model, the poly count is actually pretty tight. And here, if you listen close, if you understand the power of Dynamesh, okay, we can actually reduce this kind of stretching. So what Dynamesh is good is that we can off it and then we on Dynamesh again. And what's it going to do is that it will remesh our model. So look at this now. The mesh was remeshed and the intensity is the same. Our poly count also changed, it's slightly increased because our silhouette was changed just now. So Dynamesh is a way where we can keep on remeshing our model and we can keep on changing our silhouette and go back and Re-Dynamesh it as many times as we want, just so that we can get a neat topology, a neat equalized topology throughout our model, no matter how we change our sculpt and how we change our silhouette. So it's very, very powerful. Okay, so now that my area is resolved over here, I can press Shift and I smooth it. So if I were to go to this, this is my undo tab by the way, and if I had to go back to show you, this is before I Dynamesh. 900,000 points, and I just did a SnakeHook here. And every time you use a SnakeHook, the number 4 brush, you are going to introduce some stretching. You know, because what we did is we used this amount of meshes and then we pull it out all the way, changing its silhouette. So it makes sense that its silhouette has changed. And then we overcome it by pressing the Dynamesh button again. I Re-Dynamesh it, the poly count changed, and then it became smooth again when I hold down Shift and I smooth it. So it's very fun when we sculpt like this. We can keep changing our model. We can keep doing Dynamesh again and again. For example, if this tail, I'm not happy with this tail, but let's say what if I'm unhappy? So what if I want to make another shape out of it? Absolutely, I can make another tail out of it, and I can actually Dynamesh this again. Okay, so this might be a bit dangerous because it's a bit thinner. So if I don't want it to be so thin, I can just take away again. But I'm just showing you the powers of Dynamesh while I'm going through this number 4 SnakeHook brush, because it's very relatable, these two. You know, so every time you are stretching an area, just now you are stretching. Just now you are totally stretching. Look at all this poly count here, and I resolve it just by pressing Dynamesh again. By pressing Dynamesh again, resolve it, and then smooth it again. Alright, time to move on to the number 5 brush. Number 5 brush is a DamStandard brush, so I go to the front of the face again. Press X to bring back my symmetry. So I want the symmetry when I'm doing my mouth, and I'm going to give it a smiley face. Okay, I want it to be a little bit cuter, so I do it like this. Yeah, a little bit too much. Alright, there we go. I think that's okay. That's okay in my book. CubeBoy is forming, so use a DamStandard. So the way it cuts is it cuts in and then it's a bit softer on the edge. It's a very nice brush. It's made by an artist. I believe his name is Damien. That's why it's called a DamStandard. Okay, number 6 brush is a bit similar to number 5 brush. It's called Off Cracks. Okay, so when I'm using Off Crack, okay, right now I'll off my symmetry again, and then I want to create just some cracks on top of my model. So it's, I want to make some scars for him. You know, I imagine this cute boy has went through the battlefield. I'm gonna create some scars for him. Give him some cuts, and make him a little bit more interesting. Okay, so you can tell that if I were to compare these two, the edge of the number 6 brush of crack brush is a little bit harder, and number 5 is a bit softer. So it depends on what you're doing. You may like number 5 or number 6. So both of it is actually very good and very commonly used in the industry. Off crack brush is actually not the default brush. It's one of the brushes that I gave you, and but it's still a free brush. So it's a very good brush. Okay, I'm just gonna undo that. So we made some very nice cracks, but I feel like it's not very tight. It's not very tight. So what should I do? What do I mean by that? I want the ends to be sharper so that it looks like the crack was really there's thick and thin involved. You know, if I imagine a crack, I want it to be thick and then thin. So when it reaches the end, it should taper and then become so thin that we can't really see it. So that's my ideal visualization of a crack. So what should I do? Number 7, pinch. So pinch is a way we can pinch it. So imagine you're using your hands and you pinch it, and then you'll be like, oh, now this crack is going somewhere. Then I'll combine it with a little bit of number 4 brush, a little bit of maybe number 2 brush, just a little bit. And I think I can pinch it quite nicely. You know, I'm pinching this on purpose, and then I'm leaving a little bit behind, and then a bigger part in the front. I think that would be cool. And then if I want to make it a little bit better, maybe I can go back and make my off crack again, just to make sure its coordinates is a bit sharper. Perhaps my brush was a little bit big, but you can tell it's working. It's working pretty well. So if I want to make a crack that's quite manly cracks, you know, you can always just pinch the ends. Always pinch the ends after you make some manly cracks. Then you'll be able to have a pretty good result. Okay, so I think the problem here is that I don't want it to affect the eyebrow. So I'm also being a bit careful when I'm pinching. And you can tell that when you're pinching, it kind of inflates a little bit. So I would just use number 2 brush to polish it again, just to push it in a bit. It does make it look a little bit organic though, so I'm fine with that. So just look for the cracks I did, use number 7 brush, rotate around and try to pinch them. Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Go through the model, see if anywhere else that we need some pinching or we need some more cracks, depending. And we are not quite done yet. You know? It's just part of the process of weathering. It's like I'm giving this crack some better scars and texture effect to it, so that it doesn't look so flat. You know, so and also explore our brushes, of course. So number 8 brush is actually a clay brush with a drag rectangle. So what number 8 brush does is it will create an alpha and we will drag it out. So what does alpha mean? So this is all the list of alpha that we have. So here you can choose any alpha over here. So let's say if I want to make maybe this dragon shape over here appear. So I'm using a dragon shape alpha. The stroke is a drag rectangle. Is default on the number 8 brush and is meant to be used with alpha. So you can call our number 8 brush the alpha brush, the way we add alpha to our scene. So you just drag out and whoa, you got a dragon tattoo on the top. And sorry, navigating around it. Hoi. Yeah. Okay, so if you want the dragon tattoo to be sharper, it depends on the focus shift. So this is the brush size, this is the focus shift. And see if you want to make it sharper or softer. So this is super soft, and the other side is where it's super hard. Where it's super hard, then we can see the full dragon tattoo on top over here. Yeah, on the off my perspective distortion. Okay, we can also change the alpha. So let's say you don't want something too crazy. So, all these I'm just trying to illustrate a point, but a lot of times maybe you are just trying to add some subtle effects to it. Something subtle like creating adding a bit of a textures around here. So this is pretty cool too. We are adding something like a soft effect, maybe not so intense. Z intensity, bring it down. And then we can add some texturing to this guy. So this is when the Z intensity is just 17. Using this number 8 brush. Okay, so hope you learned from this, and then you'll be able to use number 8 brush. For more precise methods of applying textures and stuff, like I'll go through again next time. But just so you know, right now what number 8 brush would do. Okay, so and as I've said, if I'm going too fast, just pause and go back to the video. Every time I talk about one brush, you would pause the video and then practice on your own Zbrush software. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go back here on my symmetry, and then maybe I'll just polish it out a little bit more, smooth it, polish it as needed. Use my number 4 brush, push it in, push it out. Oh, what happened here? Oh my god, I think I did something wrong here. Okay, I think it's because of how I apply my my number 8 texture brush just now. It's okay. It looks like an angry battle scar. Angry guy. Okay, that's pretty cute too. And as mentioned, any point you want to remesh the stuff, I see some stretching, and if I want to remesh it, off and on Dynamesh again, no problem. And then it gets remesh, and then we can go back and smooth things again. That's where the fun is, That's where the how powerful this software is. The power for you to remesh it, have fun with it, try it again, and then don't be so afraid of all the polygons and all the polycounts. Just have fun. Just have fun. Alright, that is number 8 brush. I'm going to go through number 9 brush as well. Number 9 brush is the brush that gives you this warning. Wow, I have to use Control Shift plus click to use it. So what's going on? Let's go ahead and try that out. Number 9 brush, and then I'll say skip this node. Control Shift drag. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. This number 9 brush is called a ClipCurve. Hold down Control Shift, and then we will see that the cursor changes. We are now using something called ClipCurve, and as the name suggests, we are cutting. We're cutting stuff. Okay, so what ClipCurve is good for? It's very good for cutting stuff. So this black shaded area will be cut. The black shaded area where I hold down Control Shift and drag will be cut here. If I do a ClipCurve here, it will be cut. If I do a ClipCurve here, it will be cut. And you see it's very powerful, so it's also cutting my tail. So that's not what I want. So if I want to cut it, you have to remember that this tool, what it does is that it cuts according to the angle of your camera, you know. So if I want to, for example, if I want to cut something here, I would end up cutting my tail. So purposely I rotate the camera angle like this, and I position this tail further away. Now I can cut here. So if I were to cut here, if I were to cut here, I can cut it off like this. And the angle that you cut, you go from bottom up or up to bottom, is a very big change. So when you do it, you notice that, okay, now I'm cutting this way. But if I do it the other direction, oh, I'm cutting this direction. So you go from bottom to up or up to bottom. It takes practice. So if you're not familiar, just try it out and see where it takes you. So for example, if I'm cutting here, I can't just cut like this, you know. I'm trying to trim this corner here, but I end up cutting everywhere. I end up cutting everywhere here. See? If I were to cut like this, I end up cutting everywhere here. So that's not correct. So if I'm cutting from the left side, and the way I'm cutting from right side is different. So from the left side, if I'm cutting, I should go from bottom up, and then I cut from this side here. Okay, so that's if I want to cut like this, but I'm just demonstrating. So actually what I want to do is just on these various cracks, I just want to make it more organic to look at. I'll turn the camera around. So this also helps you to just practice turning around, rotating in Zbrush, and getting used to this. Okay, so if I really don't want to affect the tail, okay, I'll just mask the tail. I had enough, man. I had enough. Control drag, mask the tail. I had enough of tail. So the tail will not be affected now. So I can chop off all the corners that I want. Control drag, Control shift drag, and then I can give quite a bit of cuts to it. Yeah, and the cuts are very clean. It looks very nice, and when you cut it this way, it also adds a bit of hard surfaceness to it. You know, it's like a very hard cut to it. And if you do this enough, it's actually pretty cool. This is good for when you're making swords. You know, the swords like World of Warcraft or your characters in League of Legends. You know, they have different cracks or wall damage on it. It's not always perfect. And if you're making hard surface weapons, guns, rocks, stones, it's very good to add this kind of cuts to it. You know, it's very aesthetic. You know, so just a normal cube, we can actually make it look quite interesting, so to say. So I have this cut here. I actually didn't plan for this, but it's kind of like a happy accident. So I will just extend this crack. Happy accidents. So be happy about your happy accidents. Try to embrace the artist inside you, and then try to look out for some happy accidents that the software have created, and then see where it takes you, man. So don't need to always worry too much, and be aware that happy accidents can be a great way to make your modeling better too. See, I didn't plan for this too. Just now I think at some point I did this. Happy accident. It's nice. I like it. Add some up crack to it. And make it a little bit stylized. Okay, so practice your number 9 brush. Okay, and then have a bit of fun. And I think that's the end of this exercise. We went through number 1 brush to number 9 brush, and I hope you got better at understanding our shortcut keys. It's very, very useful. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.